Hello everyone and welcome back to the Little Quilter. Today we have a little bit of a different project that we're doing. So a lot of you may have followed along with the Harry Potter quilt, and whenever I was purchasing that fabric, I actually purchased this from Joann's fabric.com or from the Joann store, and it is a iron-on patch from Harry Potter, and I just thought it looked really cool and wanted to incorporate it somehow into the quilt. Well, obviously, as I progressed through it, I was like, I don't think I can use a patch on a quilt. I have no idea how I would do that and keep it on there and it would look nice, all of those things. So I ended up deciding not to use the patch. But now I have this patch. What can I do with it? Wouldn't this look really cool on a pillow that you could applique this onto and have it sitting on top of the quilt? So that's what I've decided to do today. What I also decided that would look really cool is I got this really beautiful velvet fabric, and it is so pretty. Like, this is Santa's coat almost, right? So it's really pretty. I probably have a little bit more than I need fabric wise, but I've never made a pillow, so I just wanted to make sure I did it right. What I did was I had this pillowcase from a trip that we went on to Quebec in Canada, and I thought it was a pretty decent size for a pillow, so I liked it. It is a pillowcase covering, so let me go ahead and take it off. So what I did was measured out this pillowcase cover to tell me the size of it. Now I added a 1/2 inch around the edge of all of them, or I'm going to add a 1/2 inch around all the edge of them to make sure that I account for my seams. Now, so basically cut my squares, 1/4 inch seam all the way around, and I left one opening. You can see this is why, don't judge me on my hand sewing, because I knew nobody was going to see this, even though I'm showing it to you now. But once the pillowcase cover is on, nobody sees it. And B, I don't do a ton of hand stitching. So I then left one end open and hand stitched this area here after I filled it full of polyfill stuffing. So I had a ton of polyfill. Basically, I had these intentions of making a bunch of like bears and little stuffies, and then my hope was to then like make clothes for them for my daughter, but that just never really happened. And so then I just had this giant box of stuffing to sitting there, and I was actually about to give it away to someone when I thought of this project, and I thought, why purchase a pillow when I could just make one? I have all of the things to make it, and how easy was this? And I was able to fill it to the amount that I like. So some people like a really firm pillow, some people want a really soft squishy pillow. So this worked out great. Now what we've got to do is we have got to cut our fabric for this, and I also purchased a invisible zipper to go for this so that I don't have to do some really sad or terrible hand stitching all the way around. And then we'll be ready to put this together. So let's do this. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is measure this out, like I said. So it's been a moment. Just to make it easy, we're going to go down here. Like I said, it's about 17.5 inches. Yeah, so that's 17.5 inches by basically 17. I don't know why it's a little bit shorter than it is longer, but that's okay. All right, so that is the size of the square. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. And then what we're going to do is add a 1/2 inch all the way around. So we'll cut an 18 inch by 17.5 inch of fabric. Okay, Now let's get our velvet fabric. Ooh, so nice. Okay, so now we've got one pillow square cut, and it is 17.5 by 18 inches wide. And now we are ready to cut the other side. Okay, so now I have both of my pillow sides done. I'm gonna open up my zipper here, which may be a lot longer than what I need. Okay, so I have got my two sides cut of the fabric that I'm gonna do here. And then what I'm actually gonna do is put this foot. So this is the foot. At first I thought I didn't have a zipper foot, but this is the foot that actually comes with the Brother PQ 1500 SL machine. And it is actually cool because it's an adjustable one. So I can unscrew this little guy right here and I can slide the foot so that I can do either side of the zipper, which is really neat. So I'm gonna pop this thing on and then we're gonna get to sewing down the side so that we can get this done. Okay, so I got my first side of my zipper done, and I think that looks pretty good right there. Blends in nicely, and it does actually unzip nicely, which is perfect. So now I've just got to attach the other side, and then I'll be ready to actually applique on my piece. So all right, moment of truth here. I hope I've done this right. I've not done this right. Wow. Couple of things wrong here. A, we missed a little gap. B, that's not a right, very pretty picture. Okay. I thought I had to do them right sides together. Let me unpick this. There's a small hole in it now. This is not going well. Okay. Silly zippers. Okay. let's see. Let's try this again, shall we? Now, we want this to be, cool, now I'm so confused. Okay, this one I did on top. So we really want to do this one on top then. Yes, right. Just make sure my pieces are lined up here. Okay, so if this is on top, and I want to sew this on top like this. Yes, this is better. Okay, let's go back to unzipping. I at least have the same marks. Okay. Cool. Let's try this again, shall we? All right. It is what it is. Okay. Let's see. Here's our edges. Well, oops, there's a pin there. Nice way to stab myself. Okay. So that worked, right? I mean, that's not shabby. Okay. Since we got to go in the right direction. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is, so this is going to be the bottom. So these will be the top. So I am going to go ahead and choose a side. I'll just do this side. So since that's the bottom of the pillow, this will be the top. We're going to switch out our foot now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is find the center of my pillow so that I can applique it on. I was actually kind of playing around with the idea of doing some quilting on it and maybe like some cross hatching. I did a practice piece where I just kind of did some random ones. I've decided not to just because, well, I've already got the zipper attached and I really think this would require quite a bit of marking. I do think it would be cool. So, you know, that's an idea if you decide you want to try something like this, to see if you want to do some quilting on it. I think that would look pretty neat. But since I already have these attached and everything, I just think that would be a little bit difficult to do, not being able to go all the way off of it. So we're going to stick with a plain one and hopefully allow this to be the mainstay here. So go ahead and take this out. Now, it does have a sticky back to it, but I'm not going to be able to do that because it's the velvet fabric. So that is why I'm going to be stitching this down. Now, I have to change out my thread. I did have it changed previously, but then I thought about doing that stitching, and so I had to change my thread again. So now we're going to put the thread back in there, and I've used the Glide Sultry to do the stitching for the red. This one is a connecting threads quilt thread, and I have no idea what it's called. There's no packaging on it anymore, so I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this thread onto the needle. Alright, so we've got our thread changed. Now we're ready to go ahead and sew this on there. And it's going to be a little difficult to do that because I've got this bottom piece attached, but I have to do it before we sew the pillowcase together, so it's got to be done. right. So there is our patch on it, and if you want to see what the back looks like, here is what the back looks like. So I did actually go over it 2 times just to make sure that that thing stayed on there really nicely, and looks like it is. So now I've just got to sew all of this together. So I'm going to swap out my thread and get to sewing around the edges, and this thing will be done. Okay, so I've changed back to my red thread, and I've got it pinned on the corner just to keep everything nice and situated. I'm pulling up this tape, the zipper tape, and I'm going to whole right stitch, and basically using this line right here, use that to stitch down the rest of the pillow. We'll go all the way around until we get to the edge of it. At one point, I will open this up the rest of the way before I finish it, just so that I have access to flipping this inside out, and then we'll be good to go. So let's get that going. And I have switched back to my regular foot. The only thing that I really find most annoying with this is just that it is really hard. It's really hard to just hold everything together. And even with pins, I feel like it's really hard to hold everything together. So, and position it under the foot. It's a bit annoying. Okay, so I did a couple of forward and backward stitches just to set the stitching there. Anywhere where we're going to be opening and pulling, we want to just make sure those seams are nice and situated. And now I can just go on around. This should happen pretty quickly. Okay, moment of truth here. Let's see what happens. I can unzip it the rest of the way. Oh, here's a thread. Let's just cut that just for sake of keeping things tidy. I'm a little nervous. I guess I shouldn't be too nervous about this. The more nerve-wracking part will be whenever we go to put the pillow in. That'll be the more scary part. So far, there's no holes at least. We'll have to see what the zipper does too. Okay. Well, it's looking like a pillow. That's good. Okay, oh, that one came out nicely. Okay, nothing else. We have a pretty upside down bag. All right. Here is the zipper. I feel like that's not as good. I think I sewed a little bit uneven. So there's the other side. They're not quite, let me see if I can focus it here. They're not quite even there, but that's okay. We'll see. As long as it closes. Okay. You know what? It's not perfect. If it went a little bit further, which I could potentially unpick that. But honestly, it's going to be sitting on the bottom. Who's looking at that? Okay, let's see if we can stick this in. Okay, let's get our giant cushion. Oh my gosh, it's so big. Okay. Well, I haven't ripped anything yet, so my stitching's good, because this is a tight fit. Suck it in, little pillow. No worries about having stuffed it properly. Right, the pillow's in. See if the zipper still works. It's a little tighter. Okay, you know what? I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's too bad at all. Look at my first pillow. Okay. There you have it. Super soft. This is applique on there. I think that's a fun little pillow to sit on the quilt with the Harry Potter quilt. I think this turned out great. I do think it would be interesting to have seen it with this, if I had been able to like space these properly and do them in a really nice, maybe like diamond pattern. I think that would have been interesting to see and kind of makes me want to explore the world of pillow making now. But I'm definitely going to call this a win. So that's great. Okay. Well, I know today was not a quilting video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this little foray. If you did, if you liked it, make sure to comment down below, give me a thumbs up. But it is in conjunction with my Harry Potter quilt, so another little present for my niece. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.